starting it.
Sounds good. Maybe close the door.
You want me to set it to public?
Yeah. Then if you want to go ahead and make the post.
To Instagram?
Yep.
Yep.
Updated link in bio, yada yada yada. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a nice weekend. Today I'm gonna pick up right where I left off. And begin describing the fabric in these areas, blocking in a nice strong layer to go underneath. Got Sean in the studio today and David.
Hello, yo.
I guess say the usual suspects.
We're always here.
I don't feel like a suspect.
We never leave. David, you would definitely be the biggest suspect, but you could also never get away with any crime.
It's true.
Because it would gnaw at you.
Yep. Somebody would know 30 minutes later.
10.
10 minutes?
Yeah, dude.
David's one of the great friends that is good at sharing and being honest. Sometimes too honest for some people, but it's good, and I appreciate it. So feel free to head and go about the rest of that list.
Okay.
So if you missed the past few times, I'm establishing my underlayer of sorts. I mean, it's of course underpainting. I never like using terms because people always, I don't know, people get really defensive about, well, that's not this, or that's not the way that's supposed to work, or so I'm always like, you know, for lack of a better word, just establishing my values. This will be the layer that kind of gives the foundation for the final color layer, or what I hope will be the final color layer, kind of one more pass. That said, usually there's a third pass for some areas, and we will definitely see how it goes. The plan, we're working on an Annunciation scene, and this is, we're gonna start to finish this thing. So you're gonna get to see every little bit of it, and you know, just kind of reflect on the process and see kind of what goes on to get a painting like mine all the way to completion. This is the sort of this is the part that's not terribly exciting. It's not like I'm working on a hand or a face today and you're gonna see immediate results. But again, really important to take a look and just see what it takes to make a great piece.
Man, dude, right off the bat, the scammers.
Yeah, Instagram is currently awash with
DM for
yeah,
PM.
yeah. There must be some good money there. I don't know how many of their 1 million plus followers are actually people, but they will share your artwork for money. So there's no us artists we're kind of gluttons for punishment that way, because we want the world to see our work, and here comes somebody offering the opportunity for it to be seen by millions of individuals, but the reality is probably most of those people aren't real. Are fake accounts, bot accounts of some kind. So it's nice when you uncover a real channel with a real human who is kind of curating a daily post of great art, or a couple of times a day post. There's quite a few real ones out there who really aren't in it to make a buck. So as always, you're welcome to drop a question off and or comment. Curse me if you want, that's fine.
Wow. That escalated quickly.
Just, giving people options.
Well, let's ask for some positivity first. And then, worst comes to worst, we can ask for the cursing.
Actually, good questions fuel and make a great video, so the more you have, the better. I did have someone ask me about the medium I was using. It's made by Natural Pigments. They have a great deal of amazing things. They've done the research and have seen some of the documentation of various mediums and pigments, various things that oil painters have used over the centuries, and I have a lot of that available. So the one I'm using for this underpainting is called Venetian Medium, and it has bits of leaded glass and marble in it, so it is a little gritty when you're mixing it, especially on a glass palette. You can kind of feel that grit moving around, but the hope is it's kind of creating this nice. I mean, not really. I would I don't see any iridescence, but hopefully it's reflecting light and creating interesting. Kind of an interesting layer before I put on the final color layer, which will be semi-transparent. So some of this layer that I'm working on right now will show through, and then at that point you kind of hope, oh, this might just kind of create a little more light and like kind of an interesting result when it's all said and done. So I've done one piece with it so far. So I think that coupled with lead white, which is a transparent white, which is why it's so nice for skin tones. And just about anything really. I tried to not use it for a while, just out of toxicity's sake, and just realized how chalky my couple of paintings looked, especially my skin tones after the fact. I was very disappointed. It's like, okay, well,
Hey, can you
back to the poison.
Can you scoot a little bit farther to the right?
Just a tad. I'd have to reposition the camera or figure out something else that works better.
Okay.
Check the focus on that too. Once you shift it, probably have to zoom in. So anyway, best lead is good. Not to eat, not to have on your skin for a long time, not to, but wow, the effects for the oil painting it's just nothing else like it.
Quality on YouTube is pretty grainy. I mean, you definitely tell what you're doing, but it's not really, really clear.
How's Stream Huff? You can see there on OBS, it'll tell you.
Yeah, it's 2600, 2700 kilobytes a second. And they recommend 4500.
Can turn off Wi-Fi on a few machines where you can.
It's doing a little bit better now. It looks a little bit better. After I disconnected from the Wi-Fi.
Did the same on my phone and the laptop over here too. So.
My laptop.
Yeah, David, you need to stay clocked in to work. You know. So right now I'm just got a light and a dark brush that I'm using to block in light and dark values. Sometimes I'll get a kind of a mid-range value brush out too, just for this part. The goal is just to get coverage on everything. The thing with drapery is I like to leave it a little angular. You know, even like some of these spots where you have a really, you'll have a curve, and it is a nice smooth curvilinear line, but I like to just break it up into a couple of shapes. I feel like it makes the drapery a little more solid, and I feel like ultimately it's a better representation in this kind of silky smooth line that for some reason feels a little unnatural to me. I don't know why. When I get into the painting, I'm just not as satisfied with it. So even though, you know, yes, you know, we're sort of working from life or working on representational work, there's always space and room to make small changes that can affect the overall look. Like I really want, by the time I, finish this, this drapery to have as much volume. Each fold to have the same volume as the faces, the hands, and everything else involved. If we make good time today, might be done with this stage, but well, we'll see. Got started later today than I wanted, but I think we're basically set to get rolling for the rest of this week at about the same time. So I'm still following the main parts of the drawing that I've laid down.
I'll be right back. I have to go do something important.
See ya.
Be right back.
course, when it comes to fabric, and I know we're talking about different methods here, but you just really can't beat John Singer Sargent when it comes to the way he handled fabric. It's just so beautiful. He included the right amount of information, no more than needed, and it just worked every time. Artists who I think present day do a similar amazing job at getting that right amount of information is Nick Alm. Just phenomenal work at capturing the right amount of detail for fabric and the figure, portraiture. So, not that Nick would ever be watching this, but were he, I hope to study with you someday, Nick. Phenomenal work. And the fun things about maybe other people don't look at this as fun, but about being an artist or being a professional artist is just looking out on the landscape and saying, wow, these guys are exceptional. and you just realize I've got a lot to learn, and that never goes away. No matter who you are, and I hope that I can study with him someday. He was having a workshop in Italy that was very tempting, but I don't think I've sold enough paintings recently to be able to do that. The sleeve is nearly there. Some reflected light on the bottom of it. At this point, I'm just piecing these together. Looking for the little shapes that I see, the major relationships. And even when I put the final layer down, I'm going to be doing the same thing. Try to avoid getting it too tight. Because I still want there to be kind of life and mark. Just enough for the viewer to feel comfortable and to not question it. And then I know it's good. Ready to stop as soon as I kind of hit that point. All right, this puffy sleeve is almost done.
It's a good looking sleeve.
Puffy sleeves. Isn't that from Anne of Green Gables? Anyone? Internet?
No.
Okay.
Who's Anne Green Gables?
Anne of Green Gables, man. I should ask my wife. She will tell you all about it. Favorite books as a child? She's very much looking forward to reading them to our daughter. And probably with the same amount of excitement I have about reading The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and Chronicles of Narnia, Harry Potter, and, with them as well. So
what's your selected palette looking like today?
nothing really, just going with white and my mixed black. So everyone ought to know my mixed black by now, because you've heard me say it. David, what's my mixed black?
It's the black that you choose to paint with. It's mixed, several different colors.
Just two.
Bright sienna.
Yes.
And is it blue?
Yep.
Indigo, or is there?
No, but close. You felt the starts with the vowel. So you were on it.
Ultraviolet.
Ooh, yes, ultra is really good. Ultra's even closer.
Ultron.
No, we're not superheroes or villains.
What? I didn't agree to that.
Ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. So well done, David. Good job.
Those are the colors that were mixed. I had no idea.
And that's a nice thing. Making a chromatic black. If you've heard me say it before, forgive me, but those same colors I'm going to be using throughout this entire piece, and they will bring just unity. I'm big on the limited palette, so that ultramarine blue is my warm blue that I'll continue to use. My cool blue is cerulean, and so those kind of balance each other depending on what your needs are. And then I have a warm red and a cool red, so just a cad red, medium or light. I'm pretty indifferent on either of those, and that's my warm red. And then my cool red is alizarin crimson, which is very valuable to have those to kind of bounce off one another. And then similarly, I've got a warm yellow and a cool yellow, and just cad yellow. I usually go with a medium, and then yellow ochre. And that pretty much makes up the palette. Of course, then you have burnt sienna, which doesn't really fall into those warm cool categories. I mean, it does. Yes, it's a warm orangey color, but doesn't really have its opposite. But then usually that's about it. I keep anything else on the palette other than white, of course. Lead white, as we've talked about. All right, I think that sleeve is good enough to move on. I heard Craig Groeschel come up with that acronym, GITMO, good enough to move on. And there's always this point in painting where it has to be good enough to move on, and we're doing that. All right, switching to this lower area here. Some bigger planes, which should go a little more swiftly. So you can see even the difference, maybe from the camera, where even the last time I mixed the black, it was a little cooler. This time I mixed my black, it was a little warmer. Not so upset by that. This sleeve is then, warmer colors tend to come forward, cooler colors tend to recede. And so that will actually be beneficial to me if I can even just nudge that warm and cool just a little bit. And those are principles you can use at any point to help create space. So think too about your darks and your lights. So dark colors recede, light colors come forward. And I know we're not to color quite yet, but you can just use the properties of color and what they do naturally with our eyes and make volume and make space happen just with those. So you couple that with good light rendering, of course excellent drawing, and then you do truly have this double, triple whammy effect where you're using all of those in concert with one another to create a scene that really works in space and creates that atmosphere. Sean, you can go into YouTube Studio and be adjusting all the past streams with new images and new thumbs, as well as descriptions for what's going on. You can look at past descriptions to find the structures that can be put in place. What links to put in there? It's definitely not a one-to-one. We don't have any music going. We don't. Again, don't be shy if you have any questions, any concerns, if you're watching this later, just drop it in the comments, and I'll get back to you. At least right now, with the number of subscribers I have, and I'm able to pretty much answer everybody, so don't be shy. Simply ask. I think we all hope there'll come a day maybe where I'll be a lot more busy.
Yeah, but even if you're busy, I can do it.
Yep.
That's why I'm here.
What am I doing? Am I starting to go off screen here?
Nope, you're still in there.
Okay.
I've got it pretty centered on her.
Okay.
So when you switch over to the other figure, you can move it then, but as of right now you're good.
Sweet.
Basically all the way down.
Apologize last week if you came back on Friday to watch the stream in the afternoon. It didn't happen. So meant to go have a couple meetings in the at lunchtime and failed miserably because my van didn't start. So kind of became the problem to solve of the hour. Anyway, fixed. Now, so we're we're rolling again. really excited. Just heard back from a friend of mine who's going to be working on some tracks to play during live stream. So pumped to be able to have some original music written by a good friend throughout high school, great musician here in the Wichita art scene, great artist, great musician, and all around stand-up guy. So super pumped. We'll fill in these spaces a little better. If you were to look at old streams versus this stream, you're going to notice that as this area has dried, it's matted, so it's not as dark. And there's all kinds of craziness happen with layers that are still half dry in some areas and fully dry in others. And the fun of oil paint. When you get it on yourself and you're like, I'm not even sure where this came from, and then you think you've cleaned it up, but then it's on you someplace else, and it's always this crazy mystery. And I would sing, but I don't really know any songs.
That's not true. You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't even know that.
The songs that aren't copyrighted.
Yeah.
Is it a copyrighted song? Oh, Anna Dawson's back. She said, at this stage, do you use any medium or thinner, or just straight paint? I assume the umber ground was washed on with thinner.
Yes, the umber ground was, I just used Gamsol to, actually, Sean put on the umber ground. Thank you. We have a regular almost workshop here where Sean, my assistant, is putting down the ground layers and doing a few of the things. So yes, Sean used Gamsol to lay that in. And great to have you back, Anna, by the way. Awesome. You have a great name. It's my wife's name, so awesome name. And love to have you here. So just wanted to say that before I get too off topic. Thanks for watching. So that's put on with Gamsol and raw umber. And then at this point, I have a little bit of thinner here. I'm using, because it's just a home studio, so I don't have a ventilation system adequate enough. And so I use, I think it's Chelsea Classical School. They have a lavender spike oil medium that kind of comes in a set. It comes in a lean set and a fat set, and so there is, we can buy just the thinner. It's quite strong. It's almost kind of a eucalyptus odor, and it's you don't want to use too much of it. It'll kind of knock you out. Even though it's completely VOC free, meaning there's no volatile organic compounds that do you in when you breathe in too much of it, and can cause lung damage. But so I try to avoid the VOCs in every step of the way. However, this new Venetian medium I've been using does have turpentine in it, so there is a little bit of off-gassing happening, but it's pretty minimal with a little pea-size amount of this on the... I mean, I can smell it off of my palate, but not as bad. But yeah, still using the lavender spike oil medium. It has there's more of the lavender oil to the linseed oil mix, so it's a little more thinner heavy rather than oil heavy. That's really good for a first pass. When I come around for the second pass, I'll be using their fat, which has a fat medium mix, which has a little more oil to the mixture as compared to thinner. That you always hope that is gonna reduce the amount of sinking in that happens. It doesn't always, because that depends on a lot of factors, even just what type of tube color of paint you're using. So there's kind of too many factors for me to feel like, oh, well, this is the reason this happens or not. But it'll kind of allow for that. I mean, some people really abide by this rule, and kind of get, some oil painters, they kind of get really defensive about the whole concept of fat over lean, just meaning that every layer ought to have a greater and greater amount of, your thinner ought to have a greater and greater amount of oil in it rather than paint thinner, just to do the way paint dries, and it's supposed to be the kind of safest way to do it. So some people are really protective about that. I don't know that I see too much of a difference, and they would probably argue, oh, well, you're going to see the difference in 100 years on your painting, and maybe so, but I don't know. But yeah, so using some thinner now, not very much, because I've actually mixed into my piles of paint some of the Venetian medium. So the Venetian medium has thinned out my piles of paint just for the days, because I kind of made a little bit of a gray scale from white to black, and a 50%, a 30%, and maybe a 70-ish%, just so I can block in the major value relationships today. I do like the lavender spike oil quite a bit. To me, I find the odor pleasant. Other people say it gives them headaches. So they have a set that you can buy. It comes with a bunch of little trial size jars. I think it's only $30 or $40 if I remember right. And it's good stuff. I really like it.
She said, thanks, my mom gave it to me with her name. You said you really liked her name.
Oh, yeah.
Nailed that.
The moms are good like that. Parents. Excited to get the reference photos for the rest of the pieces in the series, because I just bought a few more garments that I think will work one of the things, at least with draping the model and setting up shots like this, is that it doesn't necessarily have to be something they can wear and walk around in. It just has to work for the scene, which is nice. It buys you a lot of wiggle room. But I did buy a few other garments for future paintings of this series, because I knew I would need a little more versatility. So I'm excited to try those out next time. Look at the time, 11:45. Man, what happened this morning? It's Monday, I guess. Goes quick.
Okay, the three other ones have thumbnails.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep, that looks good. Okay, happy with that. Hey, sorry, Barack. He said greetings, humans. That was like, that was way up here. Wasn't way up there. It's before Anna asked her first question. So I don't know how far ago it was. I don't think it was too long ago. But
Good to hear from you, Brock.
I'm curious on what you consider yourself, though. If you're calling us humans, are you human as well?
Good question.
Or do you just consider yourself an artist? Or there's a lot of different ways you could go with that. So if you're still here, because I so rudely did not see your original comment, I would like to know the answer to that. want me to take the part back to AutoZone? And
Yeah, we need to do that. That was part of the fun. Well, we can shoot to do that lunchtime or after lunchtime.
so the key to the van, it would take us like, what, 10, 20 minutes to
Wow.
finally get it to turn. We'd have to sit there and like put it in, take it out, put it in, take it out, put it in, take it out. And then, we finally get it to run, but then we park somewhere and then take the key out and you have to do it all over again. And then it got to a point on Friday where it just wouldn't work for Vince, and so that was rough because it was blocking in the other car. And so we were trying to figure out how to get it fixed. And so we bought a whole new switch.
Ignition switch.
Yeah, ignition switch, like the whole thing. And then we watched the videos on YouTube.
Thank you, YouTube. That's why look, let's be honest. That's exactly why we're doing stuff like that, because there are so many people who have helped me with various repairs and installs, and YouTube is a blessing. So it's just incredible.
Yeah, it was real helpful. We were watching one to replace the entire thing. It was a big part, and then we saw one where they took just the key lock, where you put the key in and took it out, and
It's
like
the cylinder, just
yeah.
the cylinder by itself, which is one out ultimately. So we didn't need to replace the part.
Right, and we also thought that was gonna save a lot of time too. Turns out, it took us about 2 hours to take out one screw, and then to get the actual cylinder out, it took us another like 45 minutes. But so we got it out, and like once you get it out, there's these wafers that work as
Or tumblers, as they're called too.
Yeah.
Somebody call them different things.
yeah, these tumblers that basically lock the key in there when you put it in there to turn. And when it turns, how do the wafers work? Do they all come out, or?
Yeah, they settle in. They actually tuck in so that you can turn the whole cylinder, and that was the issue. Is they didn't, once you inserted a key, they didn't bring each of those little tumblers in, and so basically it was still, those tumblers were sticking out and not allowing you to turn the key and thus not turn on the vehicle. Yeah, it was a good time. It was fun. I still feel very confident about the decisions made.
Yeah, I mean, it saved us a lot of money.
Yeah.
They wanted like $350 just to replace that.
A
Plus
professional locksmith. Anyway,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Plus we had to change out the keys and get them reprogrammed and just do all of the stuff, and so we committed to doing it ourselves. And now the key just kind of almost falls out when you're driving it. Because the tumblers aren't really there to hold it in, so there's like one left, and so when the car's started, you can just take the key out. Which, I mean, isn't horrible, but the chip in the key has to be by the, what was it called?
Transponder.
The transponder.
Little.
Or else it'll shut the car off. So, worst case scenario, we're driving down the highway and the key falls out and the whole car shuts down and we have to pull it to the side of the road and get it back in there. But, I mean, we saved a bunch of money, so that was pretty cool. And we got it done. There was a sense of accomplishment there.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, because multiple times we were just like, this isn't working, we can't do this. Like, couldn't get that screw out, and then couldn't get the actual cylinder out, and
Well, I mean, it's made hard on purpose, right? Because you know,
someone steals the car.
someone steals the car, right? So those are like good fail safes, but not really when you're trying to work on it. You're like, oh,
Yeah, we had this screw in like the back of it, and we had to take a screw bit and like cut off wheel to the back of it, make it shorter, and then put it in a little tiny wrench, and then stick it up in there and turn it 1/1,000,000th of a turn each time, and then it would fall out and fall into this tray, and then we'd have to mess with the gear shift, and it was like a vending machine, because when we did that, then it would fall down the back, and we'd have to get it, and then we had to do it all over again. I was like upside down in front of the steering wheel, messing with electronics, and so I didn't even think about the fact that the airbag could have gone off at any point.
It's
and,
true.
You know, really messed some stuff up, and
Your face.
No, my face was underneath the steering wheel, so it wouldn't have gotten my face. It would have gotten my legs and stuff.
Elsewhere.
Oh.
Elsewhere.
Yeah.
Elsewhere.
Yeah.
With your legs sprawled up.
Yeah. Because that was the only way I could get.
You gotta get under there, yeah.
And get up and like see what I needed to do.
It was wild.
I was upside down basically for 2.5 hours, risking like leg decapitation with the airbag.
I don't think it's called decapitation.
Hey, David, this is what you're gonna respond to? This is how you're gonna be a part of it? With your criticism? All I'd say, we got it done.
It's done. Everything is safe. Everyone is safe. And we live another day, and the van starts again with ease. So we're good.
But yeah, so we got the part that we bought that we're not using that we have to take back to AutoZone. And so, at some point, I'm gonna have to do that.
Adventures.
Hey, shouldn't you probably feed your kids?
They're not even home.
Well, Ernest. So, yeah, I mean, it is about that time. I was hoping to block out the rest of this before, and Anna's not home yet, so.
Hey, Anna on here gets it. She said leg decapitation is a rare but serious condition, David.
Rare.
Okay, and I say she's right 'cause she's agreeing with me, so she knows what she's talking about. It's a very serious condition, and I don't think it's something that you should take lightly, David.
Decapitation is the action of cutting off the head of a person or animal, an attempt to undermine a group of organizations by removing its leader.
All I heard in that was that you're better than everybody else, and listen to how I'm smarter. So, do you want to be like that, or do you want to live in humility?
This is welcome to the channel, everyone. Welcome.
I want to take the
Welcome
leader.
to the channel.
Well, me what?
Take off the leader.
Who's the leader?
I don't know. You gotta find
Very rare. So rare the internet doesn't even acknowledge it.
Let's be honest, when Barack said, "Greetings humans," you're actually not a human. When you're upside down, your legs become your head, and that's how you can decapitate your legs.
Don't do this to me. Don't, come on. You just proved that you were right, and now you're trying to... Don't patronize me, David, okay?
Guess who else is patronized? Oh, the patrons here.
Is that that's how you want to do it?
Segue of some sort.
You want to connect patronization to people who are actually, like, paying money?
Yeah.
Let's do... Okay, well, let's done, so... we're going to commit to that. Well, I don't think Brock's here anymore because we didn't respond.
Well, you'll be back. Hopefully you'll be back because we can...
Yeah, he's like our #1 fan.
Yeah, it's good. It's always fun.
So he's like my favorite person.
Anna's quickly turning into that too, though. I mean, Anna, you've come to the last couple of, so thank you for being here.
Yes. And you were great, and you agree with me. So.
A patronize can be frequent as a customer.
Did you look this up too?
Yeah. So, like, if you're frequent as a customer, you can be patronized.
Yeah.
Restaurants remaining open in the evening were all patronized.
Huh.
Yeah. So, technically,
The patrons
Barack and Anna
are patronized.
patronized. They're coming back, being frequent.
Yep.
Huh.
Huh.
Look at that. We
Yes.
learned something.
Yeah.
See, what we are just
It's-
learners here, not teachers. Vince is the teacher.
So,
Anna says, thanks for doing these. I'm learning lots.
great.
So it's all about just like how we learned lots about the car tumbler thing.
That's right.
Hey Anna, can you see everything pretty clearly? Because on our stream, it looks like it's kind of fuzzy, but then on the actual software, it looks clear. So I just am not 100% sure on how it looks up there.
The real world.
Okay, I think we're gonna speed round this section before.
Yeah, Anna says it's clear on that side, so that's good.
Good.
Thanks,
Thanks, Anna.
It's like walkie-talkies. What's in for? Is it clear out there? Clear.
You gotta say over when you're done talking.
Over.
There you go. David, are those new socks over? They don't have holes in them. Over.
Hey, if anyone has questions, they can drop them in. Or you can just listen to Sean and David, which is fine too. I mean, I enjoy the entertainment while I'm painting, so it's all good. But just wanted to make sure.
I can't wait until we get music, so that way I can stop trying to fill every second with something.
Well, I mean...
Was it naive?
Well, here's the thing. Even with music, I think it will be enjoyable to just have some banter. I think it's fun. And hopefully, again, one of my dreams is just that a bunch of people would just come and hang out. We would talk, get to know each other, all over the world, and yeah, I would talk about painting at times, but then other times just.
And I'm just gonna really lean into being naive about all this stuff, because I don't know most of any of this, but I can say things. That's where I'm ending that statement. I can just say things. Nothing, like say things that are smart, say things that are funny, or say things that are interesting. I can just say things. But if anybody wants to know about things that I find interesting, I can tell you guys. But I feel like that has to be divided. Because sometimes it goes down the tinfoil hat.
Yeah. Often it goes down. Did you see, we go to a church, and on Sunday there's just all the kids were wearing tinfoil hats.
That's true, they were.
It was amazing.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh,
It was
you did?
adorable.
It was pretty good.
Except for my non-conforming children,
Oh.
who my son was like, I didn't want to. I don't want to make a hat, and that was that. I thought they were cool little helmets. But they made swords, shields, helmets. You know, sort of thing you do in church.
Yeah.
Korean warriors.
Warriors. Not to play. You guys ever seen The Warriors?
The movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. But...
They ride around on skates, being all hardcore and gangster on their
roller skates. Hey, it's the noon whistle. But that was brief. That was really brief.
Usually it goes on and on.
So, welcome to Kansas, Monday, noon. The tornado sirens go off just as a bit of a practice run. And that's our kind of early warning system. Were a tornado to appear. Hasn't happened. If you're watching this from another part of the world or the States. Look, we don't really get them very often, but we got to be prepared for them. So.
It's not like Wizard of Oz.
Right. Yeah, it's not.
Unless you live in other places.
So, but anyway, it does happen. So that was just it. Briefly, just turned on, turned off, and it's nice when it's a nice sunny day outside. You're not thinking, oh, is that a real one? No.
Yeah, but it also is Kansas, so there could be fallen houses and witches and flying monkeys on a clear day. So we really deal with some crazy stuff around here. Anna says, ours in Minneapolis goes off noon every day except Sunday. Since we have a volunteer fire department that's called by 3 blasts of the tornado siren.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I did. There was a time when was at my wife's family, their farm. I think this was during a Christmas trip there, so we were there in the winter, and the fire whistle started going off in the middle of the night. Because there had been some thunderstorms that had lit some bales on fire. And so I went out with Anna's dad, and we went to go battle the blaze. I held a hose. It's about all I'm.
While it was going off.
Yeah, while they were feeding the hose to try to put up these bales that were on fire.
How's the power behind that? Was it a lot of power?
No, not really, because these were just trucks, you know.
These aren't fire hydrant things.
Right. Yeah. This is the country, so out in the country, so nothing like that exists. So you kind of bring it in. So yeah, so I was able to help hold hose. Pretty exciting. Yeah. Everyone was okay. Nothing was seriously damaged. But there's my firefighter experience. I answered the call once. That's fine.
When I was little, I put my finger on the front of the hose and it would spray harder, and I sprayed my friends, and that's my firefighter experience.
Nice.
You know what I'm talking about? When you put your finger on the end, it's like it shoots harder.
But you had just like a hose in your backyard hose?
Yep.
You weren't spraying people with fire hydrant hose because that can like knock you down.
Yeah, that's super like intense. I don't know how. What is the pressure that comes out of that? Fire hydrant hose pressure.
Look out, he's going to the internet. Okay, we are just about wrapped up here for this session, but I promise to be back this afternoon.
200 psi.
Wow.
It's pounds per square inch. That's a lot. It's real hard.
All right, I'm happy with how it's coming here. Everything is basically blocked in, and even in this block in phase, I still feel the volume. So I've captured, you know, the various planes of the fabric, and yeah, it's always kind of a good feeling to see this whole figure here in place, and more or less working. I mean, yeah, we're still keeping it loose, but yeah, good. Really happy with how it's turned out so far. It's a good foundation for the rest of the piece to sit on.
You know, I did my first watercolor the other day, and I'm not saying it was better than this, but it wasn't even close.
Watercolor? You dabbed into watercolor.
Oh, it was horrible. It was awful.
Why'd you do watercolor?
Well, me and Sierra were trying to have a date night, more unique date night than just hang out with the cats or watch something on Netflix or something. So we went to Michael's to pick up markers to fill out wedding invitation envelopes. And then Sierra realized she didn't have any envelopes, so that didn't really work out. So she had to order some of those, but while we were at Michael's, we picked up this watercolor kit with pictures of cats, and then I tried to... You want to see what it looks like?
Yeah.
I recorded it.
I love watercolor.
I also sent it to Vince, and he sent me a pretty cool one.
Yeah.
It's just a cat,
Yeah, I know it's just a cat, but this is who I painted.
But where's the watercolor? Oh, there it is.
Right there!
Wow, did you draw that?
No.
Oh. I thought you drew the cat. That was actually very impressed. Show me again.
No.
I
No, it feels
I
silly.
want to see the colors that you chose.
I couldn't figure out how to do
Gray.
gray. Because I put black and white together, and it didn't really make gray. So then I just...
Did it make a blue color?
And then I just committed to blue.
Yeah, that's nice. It's like a Picasso.
Wow. That's exactly what I was going for. Thank you.
Yeah, it's this blue stage.
Yeah. It's my blue stage.
Oh.
It was fun. It just... I don't know. I don't understand painting at all. Because I'm naive when it comes to that kind of stuff. But it was okay. We had fun. She's much better than I am. Her stuff looked way better. And she was way faster at it. I just couldn't, I don't know, couldn't get the strokes right on the brush and how long it would keep the paint and how to get the right paint into it and just, all those things. Watercolor is just much more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I mean, with some practice.
I will say this, as an oil painter, I believe watercolor to be the most difficult medium there is. So a lot of people will say to me, hey, wow, you do oil, that's tough or something. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's forgiving. I can paint over it as many times as I want. I can rub it out when I don't like it. And, and I know why people don't like it, because they don't like the fact that you're constantly working into this wet thing. Why they say it's hard, but I actually find that easy and helpful. And so, hats off to watercolor painters. I think you got the toughest job.
Thank you.
Unless you use watercolor like acrylic.
Anna said watercolor is stinking hard. It's all backward.
Yeah, that is.
What?
I love watercolor though for its mixing, because it will continue to mix even after it's dried, and that's the cool part. I mean, it's unforgiving as in what's down is down, and you can't really just put a color right on top of it.
You lose your white and it's gone forever.
Yeah.
Hey, watercolor has some white paint. You can paint it on. Our watercolor teacher always said, if you make a mistake, use the white. Our acrylic teacher always said, stop using black. But
Was this all just said to you as a person?
Yeah, well, as people.
Like, specifically, stop using black. Because
Yeah.
you're just using too much
It's
black.
like, please don't use black on anything. It dulls your colors.
Yeah. And great point, David. That's exactly why I like to mix my black, which is essentially made of, a couple of really intense colors, so that even when you're mixing it with other things, you're not necessarily using something achromatic and just absolutely wiping away any chance of rich color. Okay, so I think that wraps up this session right now for live stream. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks, Anna.
Thanks, Anna. Thanks, Brock. And we will we'll be back probably in about an hour and a half. Hopefully, we'll see. It may be closer to 2 hours, but we will be back later today. So, thank you. Blessings.
Bye. Bye.